Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, our 2019 the first
debut.
Up, it's our first up run. A little later than usual. Usually we start in April, but the weatherman didn't really cooperate through the winter, and we had quite a bit of snow, and so we were backed up a couple weeks. But a great day and a couple of great cards in opening weekend.
Yes, absolutely, and 4 stakes on the card today: 3-year-old boys, 3-year-old girls, older mares, older boys, and of course the 145th running
somewhere in Louisville,
of the Kentucky Derby. We'll touch on that later. There's been a couple scratches. Very interesting week there at Louisville. Big storm today. It could be a muddy track for the 105th running of the 145th running of the Kentucky Derby, but it looks like it's going to be sunny here. We should be running over a fast track, as Mike mentioned. 8 races. Let's get right into it. First race is a maiden 16 for 3 and up. Colts and Geldings going 6 furlongs. Field of 8. I went to the 4 here, a Ranger, the son of Monashi, out of the Mark Luce barn. Mark looks like he has his horses ready, and some very live horses this year. Little surprise to see this guy debuting for 16.
Second in the Futurity.
Yeah, ran second in the Futurity last year behind Dat Day. Didn't run a great race in his last race, but that was in September. He never ran back, so maybe he had a small issue there. Shows up this year, first out for 16. I'm going with him. Second choice, I took Rack City out of the Rob Gilker barn. He has a 13-time maiden, but he has been running. I've gone to a bunch of those horses this weekend that have been running. That's definitely an advantage. As Mike mentioned, we had some troubles training horses here this
February
spring.
was a write-off almost.
Yeah, it snowed most of the way through February, which is, as he mentioned, why we have the late start. So the horses that have been other places running could have, they're always tough at the beginning of the season. They could be even tougher this year. Rack City for second for me, and the always tough Glenn Todd barn, number 8, Sir Knight. His rider this year is Denny Velasquez, coming off a very strong meet at Turf Paradise. Good to see him here. This horse has 1 start last year. He was the favorite. Good second behind Lord of the North. I expect him to be ready to go. I went 4, 3, and 8.
Yeah, I have the same 3 horses, Drew. I agree with a Ranger on top. It's tough to get by this one. I mean, this horse's race to win or lose. This horse is very fast. Only has to go 6 furlongs, and that's going to be a big thing for him. He did go 6.5 last year and got a little late in his races, but maybe 6. And the reduced price will help a Ranger. Amadeo Perez will be aboard for the first time. I went with Sir Knight in the second spot. As you mentioned, great connections. The work tab's been excellent, and actually got a chance to meet Denny Velasquez the other day. Nice young kid, and had a great season down at Turf Paradise, and it's a welcomed addition to the Jockstrom here in Vancouver. And the 3-horse Rack City, it's an older horse, which is good to have in these races. Generally, you want to take the older horses sometimes if they're kind of comparable, and this one is. I wouldn't be surprised to see this horse win it. I know, as you mentioned, a 13-time maiden, but this one's been purchased privately by Rob and Vicky Gelker, and has worked well, and certainly is in with a good chance off of its racing fitness. Nice to welcome back to Keyshawn Goldman, who's also back here at Hastings. He's been riding in Alberta the last few seasons, but he's on the 6-horse Trupon Online for Rob Maben. But I went 4, 8, and 3. In the 2019 Hastings Opener. On to race number 2, we have some $4,000 fillies and mares here, non-2 lifetime, going 6 furlongs again. All the stakes races are 6.5, but the undercard races are 6 furlongs. This race, a lot of trouble with it. I went to the 9-horse, though, Bad and Bougie. That was a pretty nice final start to 2018. Went off by a pile of lengths. In against fillies and mares. Prior to that, the horse had been against the boys, and went long prior to that. So it was easy to see why the horse wasn't responding, but she responded well at the end of the year. She's trained well for last year's leading trainer, Phil Hall, and Amadeo Perez. Those 2 have teamed up for a lot of wins, and I think they're going to be awful tough again this year, and Bad and Bougie to maybe win race number 2. Put the 5-horse Eco Charge in for second. I thought this horse was interesting. I know the horse has been running for 16, had some decent form there, then dropped in for 4 and didn't fare very well, but maybe didn't care for the slop. Going to get a fast track on Saturday, and work tab's been pretty good. I thought this horse fit very well at this condition, and I threw in the 3-horse Aspired for Robbie Anderson. This horse is nice final work there in 1 minute and 4/5. Looks like some readiness is indicated there, and I thought that horse was worth a look as well. A lot of these horses have had a lot of chances to break through the non-2 conditions, but so it's difficult to fall in love with any one particular horse. But I did like Bad and Bougie. I went 9, 5, and 3.
I went to the 8, Mousy, the Rob Gilker horse. Just another one that's been running. Had a couple starts at Santa Anita, and I think that could be a big advantage here. The last start was just on the 20th of April, so 2 weeks ago this horse ran at Santa Anita, and that could be enough to put her over the top here.
I just left her out over just because of the distance. The distance is 6 furlongs. I just thought the horse was a mile 16th horse. That's the only reason. The horse is plenty good enough to win.
Yeah.
It's just not
her best
distance,
race.
and maybe she'll overcome it anyway.
Was going a mile and 16th, but just the race fitness edge. I took Mousy on top of your top pick. Bad and Bougie, as you mentioned, Phil Hall, Amadeo Perez. Betting 24% together.
Not bad.
Yes, they had a big year last year, and all signs look like they could have another very good year here again this year. I went 8, 9, and I threw in Where's My Jenny for trainer Laura Anderson.
Yep.
Richard Hamill rides. She fits here. It ran second behind Be Quick, Be Gone last start out last year and gets Hamill. That's not going to hurt her chances. I went 8, 9, and 6 in the second. On the third, Fillies and Mares, Maiden 4,000. Big fields of 10. Tough race to choose. Well, I like the two that end up on the also eligible.
Yeah,
if either of those draw in,
they're going to win.
If either of those draw in, they'll be very tough in here. Who did I go to? I went to the 1. Stay Cool for trainer Rob Maben. I know I've talked to Rob Maben a few times throughout the winter, and he's had a lot of miles on these horses and should definitely be fit. A third last year for Maiden 10 as a 2-year-old. Last start, something went awry. That was right near the end of the meet, but looks to be training forwardly for this. Antonio Reyes takes the call. I got Stay Cool on top. I put Saturna. The second spot attracts top jock Enrique Gonzalez for Pat Jarvis. Another one that had a race last time, as a 2-year-old, I should say. And I like that when they get one start.
At least go through the process.
Exactly, get started.
The post parade, the gate. You get through there and get some experience at everything.
And now this year, it's not all going to be new to her, and I can see her running well. Been training forwardly. And I threw in, I put in Twink Source, the 7 Exorbitant. Yep. Another one that had a couple starts last year. She's a 4-year-old. Running against mostly 3-year-olds, as Mike said. I know that's an angle he likes. This time of year, older horses against the 3-year-olds are generally a little bit tougher. With new bug boy, what did you say his name was?
Leobardo. Like
Leobardo.
Leonardo, but there's a B. It is Leobardo Espinosa, and apparently he's Victor Espinosa's nephew.
Victor Espinosa's nephew. 7-pound bug. Welcome to Hastings.
Yes.
Exorbitant he rides in the third. I went 1, 3, and 7.
Yeah, this is a race where you're really guessing here.
Maybe the all buttons.
If the 11 and 12 do not get into the race, the balance, these 10 horses, this is a toughie to try and
pick them.
Fall in love with anyone. Hang your hat on one horse. I went with the 4 Champagne Waltz. I know the horse run 12 times, hasn't even been second yet, but had 5 thirds. But still, the horse is at least showing some ability. Going along, been on the pace casualty going along last year, but still was up in the game and running on. Work tab's been good. Last work in 48 and 4. That was good enough for me. Keyshawn Bell-Gobin will ride, and I'm going to try this one to win it. Put the 3 horse. I agree with your Saturna. Nice final prep out of the gate in 102 and 3 for Pat Jarvis, who does a great job with her horses. Enrique Gonzalez rides, which is a big positive as well. Just the 1 run last year, but at least it was a run, as you mentioned. It was going 3.5, but still ran a decent 4th. And the 3rd horse, Mark Smith, came back to win. So there was some decent horses
race,
in that race. And who'd I go in for third? Oh, the 10, Bequest. I put Bequest in there. Another one. I don't love the horse, but it's a 4-year-old, and some of its better races were early on in the year last year, and there is some ability there, and we'll see if the daughter of Storm Victory can overcome her outside draw. But it's a race where you probably want to just, as I said, if the 11 and 12 get in, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Or one of them.
They're going to be very
if one
tough,
of them get in, they will likely win by a mile. But if they don't get in, this is it's a cool race.
Kicks off the pick 5. You might want to take the all button.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. Head to the paddock, have a look at him. Go see Drew down in the paddock, and because maybe you'll get tipped off on something that looks really good out of the 10 horses that in the race. On to the 4th. $4,000 claimer for horses that do not want to race, and they're going 6 furlongs. I went to the 1 in Kelson. I thought Kelson was going to be very tough.
Fire's good fresh.
Yes, and won easily last time, first time out, closed out the season early in July with a victory. So 2 for 4 last year, and the horse always runs well. And obviously being in for 4,000, this is where Kelson's going to be pretty dangerous. I thought the only one that maybe could beat him was the 4-horse Great Blake for Rob and Sheena Maben. Got on a real roll there, won a couple. Quite nicely by over 5 lengths, going through the $4,000 conditions, the non-2, non-3. Then ran into a tough one in Southern Casanova. That was a tough horse to run into. That horse is like a $12,500 or $16,000 horse on his best day, Southern Casanova. So it was kind of an unlucky, to run into him on closing weekend. But his works have been good. He's live. Romario Saunders gets a live mount. Romario's had a great spring. He's been working hard, and hopefully he gets off to a good start. And maybe Great Blake will find his way to the winner's circle. And who'd I put in for third? I put the 9 Texas Kid. I don't mind this horse at all. Frank Barrowby, always a Hall of Fame trainer. This horse runs good races. This horse, when he gets the right trip, runs a really good race.
And his first start last year, won by was 10.
Bang on.
Yeah.
Enrique Gonzalez in the tag too, and he's back aboard.
Yeah.
So I thought that horse was worth a look as well. I thought Kelson was really live. I thought Great Blake was the second best, and then it tapered off a bit for me after that. I thought it was 1-4, 4-1, and then the rest of them. But I thought Texas Kid was third best. I went 1-4-9.
I went to one you didn't mention. I went to the 3 Harnersbach.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah,
I wasn't crazy about his last race, but if you look
Off the
before
climb,
that, he was very much in form. He's been running. His last race was just over a month ago, so he has that fitness edge. Hamill gets the call. I just took a horse that I think might be a little bit fitter than the rest of them, so I went with the 3 Harnersbach. I put Great Blake, a horse you mentioned, at the $4,000 level. He's always very tough for trainer Rob Maben. As I mentioned before, I think Rob's horses are quite fit. They can be tough in here. Got him in second, of course, the Glenn Todd connections on Kelson. Denny Velasquez, as you mentioned, first out of the box last year, won by 5 in an 8 non-3. So another one that can fire good fresh. Glenn, always very tough this time of year. He's been training forwardly. I got 3, 4, and 1 in the 4th. On to the 5th.
Stakes time.
Yes.
Gonna close out the card with a bunch of stakes.
The late pick 4, all stakes pick 4. First one is for the older girls, the Brighouse Bells. Field of 6 in here. I've gone on the 2 Tony Ann's Miracle. Her first race here last year on the 2nd of June in the Emerald Downs, absolutely crushed. Won by 5. Then they started going long after that. It just didn't really seem to be her gig. I think she fires good fresh, training forwardly for this. Top connections, Phil Hall, Amadeo Perez. Tony Ann's Miracle for me on top. I like the other Phil Hall horse, Good Luck to You. There could be a fair bit of speed in here, and she could be closing late. Nice little closing move out of Good Luck to You. Enrique Gonzalez takes call. Nice final work for her in 59-3. She should be ready. And I threw in the 1, See You at Eau Claire. This filly could win it, breaking from the rail. Loves Hastings. 5 of her 9 wins have come here at Hastings Racecourse. Very, very tough sprinter. And one that had a couple races at Sunland. She had a win down there. So another one that's race fit under jockey Richard Hamill. She could land in the winner's circle as well. I like those 3. Under par is always very...
good sprinter.
Yeah,
very,
it's very consistent.
Very fast.
And Dazzling Dawn looking to regain her form from her 3-year-old year in the 5-hole. But I did go 2, 6, and 1.
Yeah, I agree with Tony Ann's Miracle. I've seen the horse this spring. She looks great. She came here looking great last year and beat Cypress Park, and here's Hannah, and looked like going to be the dominant 3-year-old filly, but the wheels seemed to come off the bus there, and she was not braking at all. She kept braking slow in her races, signaling that there's usually when speed horses brake slow, there's generally a little issue with them, and it showed in her races. She would brake slow, then rush up, and then falter. But and that's why her 3 distance races were so poor looking on form. She wasn't even braking in those races. Then she went to Century, didn't brake again, and was given the rest of the season off. She's been working well. She looks really good. Yeah. This stake did not come up super tough. It's Tony Ann's Miracle for me. I think she's very live in here. The 1 horse, See You at Eau Claire. This mare continues to bang off, wins and still.
Always
I know
tough.
she's getting a little older now, but she didn't have the greatest of seasons here at Hastings last year. But she went back to Northlands and won one, and then went to Century and won one. Then went to Sunland this spring and won a race. And her speed is she's a classy mare. Greg Tracy does a great job with her, and she's not hooking the toughest field, so she could bounce back and maybe get in the winner's circle here at Hastings. Another BC bred, and I put the 5 horse Dazzling Dawn. I gave her a shot. Maybe not her best distance. Probably a little better going farther, but. Nancy's had this filly or mare all spring, and then there's a lot of barn changes. Went to Nancy, went to Blaine, went to. It wasn't the greatest schedule for Dazzling Dawn last year after such a sensational 2017. But she's looked good this spring. But still, I prefer the 1 and 2. But I went 2, 1, and 5 in the Brighouse Bells. On to race number 6, the Swift Inaugural. What a good race this is.
Yes.
Older horses going 6.5 furlongs. Got a field of 9 signed on. I've gone to the inside 2 horses. I like the 1, 2, and 5. I mean, the 1 and 5 have both been running. Weekend Wizards look brilliant this spring. But I went Appalachie Bay to win for Peter Redekop and Phil Hall and Amadeo Perez. This horse has been at Golden Gate, Santa Anita. Unlucky not to win one at Santa Anita there, that optional 62. And you got to be a pretty good horse to be banging heads with those non-2 other than optional 62.50 horses. Those races come up dirty tough. And as I mentioned, this horse is racing fit. Come here into Hastings, worked in 13 and 3, looks good. Amadeo had his choice of a few horses in here, and he ended up on Appalachie Bay. Weekend Wizard, the little guy, the little son of Rosberg, he's not a big guy, but boy, does he pack a good punch.
Yes, he does.
And Richard Hamill has worked him quite a few times this spring, and this horse has looked very good. He's live, and he's a good sprinter, too.
Yeah.
He's got a good turn of foot. He's dangerous. And Bestrea, off of his runner-up effort for 40, that's still a big effort. And he's run big races here and unlucky not to win 1 or 2 here at Hastings. I know he's 0 for 8. In Vancouver, but he's run some win-type races, but just hasn't got the dome, and maybe he'll get fortunate and get over the hump and win the Swift inaugural. But I went 1, 2, and 5. Just quickly run through them. Panhandle, nice horse, training well. Maybe I might have, it's a freshly turned 4-year-old running against some tough horses. Calgary Caper, everyone knows, not his best distance.
Horse, yeah, but he wants to go farther.
The top older horse last year, won 4 times, deserved top older horse, but he's just not really a 6.5 furlong horse. Blue Law, trying to regain his form from last spring when he won 2 in a row here at Hastings. Had a lot of time off, though, but he hasn't won a race, but he's still got a shot. He likes it here at Hastings. League of Shadows, don't know much about the horse, but he's very fast. Driller's always honest as yet they
He's
come.
cool, doesn't
Driller's
he?
a nice horse.
Always shows
Don't
up.
leave that horse out. Jose Mariano Asensio rides in the 9 Boundary Bay. He was more at Emerald last year. We only saw him the one time when he defeated European and gave me some slack. But he's got speed and he's got an outside draw, but he'll need some little good fortune to go his way from an outside post. So, but I went 1, 2, and 5 in a very good Swift inaugural.
I got the same horses, different order. I did go to Weekend Wizard. Super impressed with this horse last year. Our top local 3-year-old here last year only got beat 3/4 length by Sky Promise in the BC Derby. Went out, just got beat in the race at Emerald.
Right. He's unlucky not to win a pile of money.
Yeah, cool horse. Hamill and McPherson always deadly together. Excuse me. I went Weekend Wizard on top. I agree. I mean, I'm with you. I really like those 3. I put Bestrea. I like that last race. Those $40,000 races at Santa Anita are tough. They're tough, and he just got beat ahead, just missed. And the race before that in February, not great. I like to see him bounce back again for 40 and run a big race, and I think he's coming into this race well. And I agree, Appalachie Bay, I put in the 3rd spot. Phil Hall, Amadeo Perez, another one that's running fit, has been running at Golden Gate. As you mentioned, that big race at Santa Anita got a 91 buyer. If he gets anything close to that here, he should be long gone. I went 2, 5, and 1. Same horse as Mike, different order in the Swift inaugural. On the 7th, the Jim Coleman Province, our own little 3-year-old race here on a day where the biggest 3-year-old race in the world is being run. The Jim Coleman Province, field of 11. I went to the 7 Morrow, Texas, at the Steve Henson barn, coming off an impressive win in a $40,000 claiming race at Oakland Park. Was sloppy that day, but he won by 5. My brother actually claimed him for Steve Henson. He said he's not a big horse, but he's very quick, and I think he gets out of the gate and could wire this field. Just another one that's running fit, was training at Oakland Park, and I think rolls in here and could be tough first out of the box.
Nice, great claim. Looks like it.
Yeah, got a 76 buyer last time. Morrow, Texas for me, on top of Explode, our top 2-year-old here last year for Mark Kluche and Ole Nielsen's Canmore Farms. Amadeo rides. Amadeo and Mark Kluche 35% together last year. Explode for me, he was winning. I mean, he broke his maiden at 6.5. I do think he is a better horse when they stretch out.
He definitely will be.
And that's why I got him in the 2nd spot here. And I put in Dr. John H., another one that's been running for Glenn Todd and Denny Velasquez. Won the Lost in the Fog back on the 29th of December. Most recently, 3rd in allowance race at Tour Paradise. That was on the 9th of March. Another one comes in here, racing fit. Never want to leave these guys out. The Glenn Todd North American Thoroughbred Horse Company and his new rider, Denny Velasquez. 7, 3, and 4 for me.
Yeah, I have the same 3. don't think it's that easy, but I think those are the three horses. We both left out the two Craig McPherson runners. Colorado Rap was a stakes winner, and so is Dat Day, who won the Futurity last year. But both are nice horses, but I think both may appreciate when they start going a mile on the 16th. Even though they did win stakes sprinting, but they were restricted stakes, and they're still two very nice horses. But I did go to Explode. I've really been impressed with him since going on the Lasix program. He did lose to Colorado Rap, but he had to do all the fighting on the head end that day. It was a kind of a tiring track to be on the lead, and the horse just got caught late. But he was actually galloped out back ahead in front. And then he came back and made no mistakes in a maiden win, and then the Ascot, he was just dominated. He's grown into a nice he's a good-looking big horse, but he is athletic. He's been working well. He can sprint. I think he'll be dangerous. Dr. John H. for the North American Thoroughbred Horse Company, and Glenn Todd, won a stake in Phoenix towards the end of last year. And a couple of runs this year going along, one on the turf, one on the dirt, but he's back in sprinting, and I think that'll make him pretty dangerous. He's had to work at Pegasus since coming up north after campaigning at Turf Paradise, but I think he's pretty dangerous too, and I agree with Morrow, Texas, with everything you said. He's fast. The now horse, he could be, this is the day. Maybe they'll beat him next time, but this is the time we're handicapping for, and he could be the best horse. Here, I went 3, 4, and 7. I do like Explode, but I could see Dr. John H. Morrow, Texas, maybe hanging on and not, because I think Explode will have to come from off of it. 3, 4, 7 for me. In the Jim Coleman Province, on to the finale, the Ross McLeod for 3-year-old fillies. Another good race. This race come up tough. 6.5 furlongs to be the distance. I'm going to go to the 6 horse. I'm leaving for Greg Tracy. Has 2 impressive wins at Sunland Park. I know the company that was around him perhaps might not have been the toughest. But his race, when going on Lasix behind Summerlin, wasn't that bad at Century Downs. And for a horse that I just thought Summerlin was probably farther along in her program than I'm leaving was at that time. And I think this horse with 2 races under her belt is going to be very dangerous at a 6.5 furlong sprint when these horses are coming off, having the winter train here. And try and come off the bench and run a big race against a horse that's been racing fit, and they're gonna have to run pretty fast to win this race to defeat the 6 horse. And I don't know, it's gonna be tough for anyone to do it. I put the 2 horse Summerland, last season's 2-year-old filly champion. Was brilliant, other than her race at Delmar behind Bellafino, of course, has won everything.
She'll be the favorite
except the Breeders' Cup. She's going to be the favorite in the Kentucky Oaks. She's won all other 5 races, and what a cool filly. She's been very good for owner, breeder George Gilbert, and trainer Phil Hall. And I put the 7 horse Dancing Shoes in for 3rd. She was very good last year as well. Won the CD Diamond Futurity, won the BC Cup Debutante. Couldn't beat Summerlin in the fantasy. Just didn't get any pace help that day, but she could get pace help today.
Yes, she could.
Because there looks to be a lot of pace signed on in here. You got the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. And there's a lot of potential pace in here, and Dancing Shoes might be able to catch them late. I know she'll be better going long. She's a big, long, strapping filly that I know she did win sprinting, but those are, she's running against a very tough field today, and I think she is, when running against these type of horses, will be better at a mile on the 16th. She may win just because of the way the race may set up, but I prefer the 6. I went 6, 2, and 7.
I got the same horses, same order. I agree with your breakdown here. I'm leaving. Those 2 races very quick at Sunland.
One easy, both times. Watch the replays.
And I like the fact that most of their speed is to her inside, right? That's a good post for her.
Gives Richard some options.
Exactly. Gives Richard options. Dancing Shoes is not going to be on the lead.
No.
Mrs. Taylor maybe can pressure from the outside, but the majority of the speed, Summerland, One for Mom, Notice. That's all to her inside. And I think that really does her a good service in here. I'm leaving on top. As you mentioned, last year's 2-year-old champ Summerland. Be interested to see how she breaks out in her 3-year-old year. A perfect 4 for 4 here at Hastings, and then did win the one out at Century Downs, defeating I'm leaving. But Enrique Gonzalez back aboard her. And I agree, Dancing Shoes. Could be very tough in here because she is a closer, but she is one as well. I'm really looking forward to
Watch how
seeing
the
her
track's
stretch
playing
out.
too. Watch how the track's playing throughout the day. That
Yeah.
might help you if speed's not carrying, which it probably should. But watch how it plays. It changes from throughout the day
As the card goes on, yeah. But she's Dancing Shoes. I'm going to be more excited about seeing her as.
But all good fillies. This is a really good race.
start
Notice, we
going
didn't even talk
longer.
about Notice.
Yeah.
The Mark Clucci running. Like,
Very
what
nice
a nice.
field. Won the
She had a
sales stakes by
great
11
season last year.
Yes.
Better without the blinkers. She's been really good. And,
Yeah.
But there's some nice fillies.
Yes, no, this is a very good race. Good running of the Ross McLeod to end the card. That'll do it for our picks. We are going to touch on the Kentucky Derby, but first we're going to go through our selections.
Yeah, we'll head off to our
Mike,
slate.
as always, you're up first.
There we are, back in race number 1. I did go to the 4 range. I'm going to go 4, 8, and 3. Race number 2, I went to the 9, Bad and Bougie. 9, 5, and 8 for me in the, it's a Colucci. Phil Hall, last year's 1-2 trainers. Going to look to get off on a good start again. Race number 3, I went to the 4 Champagne Waltz, toughest race on the card by a mile though. 4, 3, and 10. Race number 4, I went to the 1 Kelsing, going to go 1, 4, 9. Race number 5, I went to the 2 Tony Ann's Miracle over the 1 Ciudad Claire and the 5 Dazzling Dawn. Race number 6, I did go to the 1 Appalachie Bay, going to go 1, 2, and 5. Race number 7, I went to the 3 Explode over the 4 Dr. John B and the 7 Morrow, Texas. And in the finale, I went to the 6 I'm Even, I'm Leaving over the 2 Summerlin and the 7 Dancing Shoes.
On to my picks. There we go. Back in the first, I agree with Mike. Number 4, a Ranger over the 3 and the 8. In the second, I went to the number 8, Mousy over the 9 and the 6. In the third, I went to the 1, Stay Cool over the 3 and the 7. In the fourth, I went to the 3, Harnersbach over the 4 and the 1. In the fifth, I agree with Mike. Number 2, Tony Ann's Miracle in the Mares race over the 6 and the 1. In the 6th, I went to the 2, Weekend Wizard, our top 3-year-old here last year, turned 4 now, over the 5 Bestray and the 1 Appalachie Bay. In the 7th, I went to the newcomer number 7, Morrow, Texas, over the 3 Explode and the 4 Dr. John H. And in the nightcap, I agree with Mike on number 6, I'm Even, I'm Leaving. If I had nickel for every time I said that, not many times.
Not many.
Number 2, Summerlin, and number 7, Dancing Shoes rounds out my pick in the nightcap. That'll do it for our picks on Hastings. Now we are going to touch on the
145 times
running of the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, the big news that broke yesterday was the scratch of number 12, Omaha Beach, who looked to be the favorite in this race, was coming into it in great shape. And now with him out, I've heard a rumor too, this isn't for sure
11,
right now,
yeah.
that the 11 Heichel, Kieran McLaughlin's horse, could be out as well.
And the 21 does get in.
Yeah, that's right. So there'll be 19.
Boat Express fans.
Yeah, so there'll be 19 at best. I'm going to the 7 Maximum Security here. It's a horse that broke his maiden for maiden 16 down at Gulfstream Park.
Hallelujah. Got away with that one.
There's 782 trainers in America who said they almost claimed him that day.
Yeah, Wayne Snow.
But undefeated. I saw an interesting stat the other day. In the last 10 years, every horse that's won the Kentucky Derby has been an undefeated 3-year-old. There's only 2 in the field this year. They're right next to each other, Maximum Security and Tacitus. I just don't see, believe me, this sounds crazy. I don't see a ton of speed on here. There's always a lot of speed in the Derby. I think Maximum Security can get to the lead. It looks like it's going to be a very wet day. If he gets on the lead, he could get brave and he could carry him a long way. I got Maximum Security on top. I put Improbable in second of the Bob Baffert barn. If you liked Omaha Beach, you got to like Improbable. Gave him everything he could handle last time and only got beat a length by Omaha Beach. Improbable looks tough with Irad Ortiz in. Bob Baffert has 3 in here. I put one of his other horses, Game Winner, who's been unlucky. I mean, the funny thing I was saying today, Improbable and Game Winner could be 2 of the favorites, if not the 2 favorites. Neither of them won a race in their 3-year-old year, but they have been running second to live horses. Game Winner just beat a nose by Omaha Beach, and Jose Rosario rides. I went 7, 5, and 16. Good luck in the Derby. I hope you get the Super because it's going to pay a forttion this year.
It should pay a lot. I got all the Bobby horses. I'm Bob, Baffert.
Wow, did you stay up late
late
last night?
I know, really. Like, that was hard work. Kentucky Derby. Let's take it Baffert.
Let's take all
He's
Baffert
got 3 of them in here. I like them all.
Round
I
up
like
the
Improbable.
try.
I like the 5-horse Improbable.
I can see that.
They tried the blinkers on him last time because they thought maybe he was loafing on the lead when he did get beat by Long Range Toddy. Obviously they agree that
pull him
it was
back off,
probably
yeah.
just not running since December, and that's
exactly.
why he got beat.
Needed the race. Yeah.
But they take the blinkers off, and I thought he ran a good enough race last time. He was solid behind Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach was a nice horse, got the jump on him, and Improbable acted up in the gate that day too. I'm hoping it was the blinkers. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes on horses, blinkers, you
Get a little
they
funny
get a
when
little
they can't
rattled
see,
in there, and you can't see things. You hear something and you can't see it. And I'm hoping that was the case. But without blinkers, he has never been like that in the gate. So I'm sure that's another reason they're taking him off. Improbable for me. He's got enough pace to, just in case it is a slow pace, he's got enough speed to get out there and get in position. And a nice draw. I put Game Winner in for second. The other Bob.
All three.
Yeah, no, not embarrassing. And,
What a handicapper.
I know. And it's not so unlike me to not come up with a.
I know. Usually
some
I expected
stupid
like by
pick.
my
I
standards
know,
or something like that.
crazy
Some horses coming up.
Sure there will be, but a horse that could jump up
Improbable,
and win it.
Game Winner,
These horses are all live.
Roadster.
The 5,
That's
16,
right.
and
Those
17,
respects.
but they are beatable as they have shown. Game Winner hasn't won this year, Improbable hasn't won this year, but they run bang up seconds. And Roadster, at least is 2 for 2 this year. But yeah, it's a tough race as always. You just don't. Yeah, I like my country. He drew the 20 hole, but Country Host was kind of my
That's your kind of long shot pick, the Bill Mott horse.
Last time, even in the Arkansas Derby, but he kind of let me down a little bit. I'm going to leave the barn there. But
Not trained by Baffert. You can't take him.
No, Billy Motti, bad. 5, 16, and 17 for me. Next up on screen, we're going to put up the slate. We have some slates for us, and we're up. Okay, there you can see my picks are
Mike?
The 5, Improbable, the 16, Game Winner, and the 17, a Roadster. Bob Baffert's that white hair is going to be jumping.
This is
that
really...
white hair is going to be jumping on Derby Day.
How long? We do this like 6 years. This is my most
inspiring
moment. My most inspiring moment from Mike here.
Because they're always trying to beat him
wow.
like a moron.
I went to Maximum Security.
And
Jason
John Gunther likes
Service
Improbable.
Yeah, that's John Gunther's pick.
John Gunther, of course, he was just before taping. We saw him inside here at the Derby, and he likes Improbable.
He liked Improbable even before Omaha Beach scratched. Right. That was his pick. I went to the 7 Maximum Security. What a story this horse would be running for maiden 16 at Gulfstream if he can win it.
That would be cool.
And I put Improbable, as you mentioned, the Gunther pick in second, and the 16 Game Winner in third. That'll do it for the opening day card and the Kentucky Derby card. This version of Handicapper's Corner.
Yep, thanks everyone for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you at the Sunday card. First race both days, 150. There are some wagering profile changes. Do check it out in your programs. Pick 5 starts on the third race. But for now, anyway, I'm going to try races 3 through 7, but we'll see how it goes throughout the year. But wagering profile changes. Check it out in your official programs. On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on Handicapper's Corner, the Derby Bar and Grill.
I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do, can